So when I was pregnant, everyone talked to me about labor. People asked about the baby, they asked about the nursery, my birth plan, what my preferences were, if I was going to do a water birth, all that jazz. But almost nobody talked to me about what would happen after the baby arrived. Nobody explained to me how much healing would be required. Nobody explained the emotional roller coaster. Nobody explained really that I was about to become a new person and how deeply motherhood would change me. So, if you've ever felt surprised, overwhelmed, exhausted, or unprepared during postpartum recovery, please believe that you are absolutely not alone. So, today I want to share what nobody told me about postpartum recovery and what I believe every mother deserves to know before she gives birth. Because postpartum isn't just about recovering from birth, it's literally about recovering while learning how to care for an entirely new human being and becoming a whole new person yourself. So let's talk about it. One of the absolute biggest myths that I've ever encountered was the idea that postpartum recovery takes 6 weeks. How many mothers here, I just make it to your 6 week checkup, as if 6 weeks is a magical finish line. Yeah, like everyone. Yeah. Um, the reality is that healing looks so different for every woman. And so for some mothers, physical recovery may take months, and for others, emotional healing may take longer. There was a research study that's come out last few years or so, maybe about within the last decade, that it can take up to 10 years. Each pregnancy, your body resets for your body to actually recover from that first pregnancy. We are not talking about this at all. You have your muscles, your pelvic floor, your hormones, sleep patterns, not even talking about your identity, relationships, nervous systems, everything is adjusting. And so I do want to put a pin here as well. Most couples struggle a ton within that first year after birth. That's when people are typically separating, getting divorced. Like, that's how intense the first year after birth is. And that's really an indication of just how intense postpartum can be. So, your 6 week appointment is not at all the finish line. It's just the beginning of understanding what your body actually needs. And so, if you're still healing after 6 months, you're not behind. You absolutely are not behind. You are human. So you literally have just given birth. And afterwards, most folks are experiencing the swelling, the bleeding, the breast changes, hair loss, night sweats, fatigue, abdominal weakness. If you had a C-section, you're also literally recovering from a major abdominal surgery. And so sometimes there's a grief that is attached to that. And it's not because you're ungrateful for the baby and everything that you've just experienced. It's just that you're adjusting. And it's okay to understand that you are experiencing both gratitude and grief, and that your body is not broken. During your pregnancy, I am certain that people were always joking about like losing sleep after having a baby, or get all the sleep you can now because once the baby comes, there's not going to be any sleep. But people don't really explain what actual interrupted sleep can do to your mind and body. It is literally a tactic used, well, I won't talk about those tactics, but let's just say in some of those black sites, when they're trying to get information out of people, sleep deprivation is actually used because sleep deprivation impacts your mood, your memory, your emotional regulation, patience, physical healing. And sometimes as a mother, you begin questioning yourself, like, am I going crazy? Like, how come I can't think clearly? Why am I crying so much? Why do I feel overwhelmed? It's because your exhaustion literally affects everything. And this is why having support actually matters. We were absolutely never meant to recover in isolation. So, as much as you prepared for labor, did you take just as much time and attention to prepare for your emotional transition into motherhood? When you become a mother, sometimes new questions pop up that you had never even considered, like, who am I? This is all the way around, like, this identity. Um, it really could be also identity crisis depending on what's going on. Will I ever feel like myself again? Why do I feel so different? Postpartum recovery has been pitched to us as like, the snapback. It's something that's just simply physical. And once we get back to ourselves, there's this assumption that we're getting back to like the old us. But postpartum recovery is not at all simply about healing your body. It's also, how do I hold on to this new identity? Who am I becoming? Or just acknowledging the fact that you are becoming. And becoming is many times very uncomfortable before it feels natural. And so I just want to remind you to give yourself permission to grow into this season. It's okay. Again, you are literally becoming a brand new person through this transition. So please give yourself some grace. If there's one thing that I wish that every mother understood, it's this. Support is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity. Too many mothers in our nation are expected, and in every nation, I'm sure, to heal, feed a baby, manage a household, entertain visitors, return to work, carry emotional labor, and pretty much just continue on as if we didn't just complete this magnanimous feat of growing, birthing, and probably feeding this baby, all while recovering. We are expected to do all of these things. And so historically, many cultures surrounded mothers with care after birth. Meals were prepared, babies were shared, mothers were encouraged to rest. The expectation wasn't that you just jumped right into being this independent person again. The expectation was that you were going to be in community. So if you're pregnant right now, start building your support system before the baby arrives. I want to remind you that some days you're going to feel strong. It's going to be really encouraging. You're going to be like, oh man, I got this. Like, let's go. And then maybe the next day you're going to feel exhausted. And some days you'll think, oh yeah, like, this is amazing. I'm on the right track. I've gotten over this hump, right? And then there's going to be another day where you're going to be like, oh my God, like, am I doing anything right? All of that is absolutely and totally normal. Recovery rarely moves in a straight line, and healing certainly does not happen in a straight line. It happens in layers. So progress is not always going to look like dramatic, like ta-da, we've got the baby to sleep and everything is perfect, and now we're on to the next, feat and milestone and all that. Sometimes progress looks like taking a shower. Sometimes it looks like going for a walk, picking up the phone, calling a friend or family, asking for help, getting just a little bit more sleep. So it's really important that you celebrate those victories because they actually matter. I also want to put a pin here and say, like, this literally never changes. This is something that is going to be with you at every stage of motherhood. You're going to think, oh, we got over terrible twos or whatever, threes or preteens or teens, and oh my gosh, my child is an adult. Like, you are going, this is a lifelong journey, right? And so learning it and using the template now in these early postpartum days is really going to help you throughout your entire journey of motherhood. So if there's one thing that I would love for you to take away from this video today, is that there's nothing wrong with needing time. Postpartum recovery is not a race. It's a season. You're healing, you're adjusting, you're becoming. And even if nobody told you how much recovery it would require, even if no one told you how much support you would need, or how deeply motherhood would transform you, those are things that I absolutely was not told. But now I know. And so I want you to know this too. You deserve patience. You deserve support. You deserve care. And you do not have to navigate postpartum alone. Okay? If you're preparing for postpartum or currently in the middle of your recovery journey, we've created a free postpartum planning guide to help you build support before the challenges arise. So you can find the link below. And if this video resonated with you, tell me about it in the comments. What is something that nobody told you about postpartum recovery? Feel free to share. It's okay. I know it's vulnerable, but your story might be exactly what another mother needs to hear today. So share below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.